And yes, you are in the right place. This is Commercial Excellence Month Live. Vendavo is conducting sessions throughout October, and we'll get started now with our concluding one. We started off with select sessions for Vendavo customers only. That's part of the privilege and benefit of being part of the Vendavo community. Plus, we had 2 more weeks that were open for everyone, customers and soon-to-be customers alike. And today we conclude with a very special session. This is going to be Customer Insights panel, Commercial Excellence Best Practices to Overcoming Today's Business Challenges. Our panel includes Reed Garrett, VP of Merchandising for TruckPro, Stephan Fessner, Head of Commercial Management and Processes at Dynapack, Richard Reef, VP of Sales and Customer Support at GAF, and he's joined by Drew Gilchrist, Product Director at GAF, Justin Eisenhart, VP of Finance at AmerisourceBergen. And of course, I'm also happy and very honored to have with me a couple of folks that are going to help with presenting today's session. That's Stephan Liozu, Chief Value Officer at Thales, and Bruno Slosse, who is our Chief Executive here at Vendavo. So we'll turn on the gallery view so that everyone can say hi. Hi, folks. Thanks for joining today.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good to be here.
Thanks, folks. I really appreciate you joining here. All right, I've got a couple of little housekeeping items I need to cover off before we get started. First, our obligatory disclaimer. What we say today is essentially subject to change. We'll be doing Q&A. We do have time reserved at the end of the session. Your questions will come in to me, and I'll be taking a look at that and presenting that to the panelists. So please do log those in as we move along. Before we get started on today's session, though, I do want to help us get the lay of the land. And if you've joined during our previous Commercial Excellence Month in May, or even this month in October, you probably remember this framework for decision making and, frankly, taking action and leveraging chaos for improvement. Now, this is important for our community, the pricers, the sales leaders, the P&L owners that are responsible for sustainable profitability. This recognizes, of course, that there are a lot of internal challenges and externalities that have to be considered to create optionality for growth and investment in the business. The key to using this framework, though, is to organize your perspectives by looking at what is happening and what needs to be done today, tomorrow, and in the future. The first phrase, disruption, yeah, I think we all have experiences that could be related here. But then that pace slows a little bit and you're in the new normal or the next normal, as McKinsey and others are referring to it. But the difficult part is looking for that inflection point for you and your market and your organization, using that momentum to continue changing, to transform your capabilities so you and your team can thrive now and in the future, being ready for that next disruption. It's the opportunity to make lasting improvements in your commercial capabilities because there's always something coming. And that's why we're all working on commercial excellence. In terms of capabilities, here's what Vendavo has designed and is delivering to help you and your organization advance in your commercial excellence. The foundation is pricing, the ability to set and optimize list prices and structures, monitor and leverage market information, dynamically adjust pricing and manage rebates or incentive programs. The second key area of capabilities is around sales. You need to be able to select and configure the right product at the right price at the right time, set up a contract in some cases, and then renew that business to grow sales, whether it's sold directly through a distributor or an e-commerce site. And all of this is informed through robust analytics and artificial intelligence capabilities for deal price guidance, deal intelligence, and commercial analytics. And this provides you with the capabilities that you need to realize and capture more of the value you create, just as the folks that we're going to chat with today are going to relate. So with that framework in mind, let's get started. Here we are on October 22nd. So that means it's week 3, session 11. We're at the end of Commercial Excellence Month, and today's session, of course, is Customer Insights panel, Commercial Excellence Best Practices for Overcoming Today's Business Challenges. A quick look at our agenda, and it's very straightforward. First, Stephan Liozu is going to help pose some questions to the panel about their experiences. Then Bruno is going to announce our inaugural winners of the Vendavo Commercial Excellence Awards. And then we'll turn to questions for the panelists from those of you attending online with us today. And we'll be doing that using the Zoom Q&A function. And with that, let's turn to our first agenda point. I'd like to start this discussion by providing a short description of the work being celebrated here, and then Stephan will start asking questions of the panel. So let's check in with the panelists first. Justin Eisenhart from AmerisourceBergen. Your project title was Apex, I believe, and your objective was confirming or transforming a very, very manual process for approving customer pricing into a 360 view using some of the Vendavo capabilities. And you're now looking at expanding that across more business use cases, more business lines, including expansion to your specialty and brand businesses. And that's across Profit Analyzer, Price Manager, and Deal Manager. Thanks for joining us today, Stephan.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and excited to share some of our experiences with Vendavo. As you mentioned, we've embarked on a very long-term journey with Vendavo and implementing this pricing solution. Not only has it enabled more of a pricing transformation at ABC, but it's driven a lot of value for us. So excited to share the experiences.
You bet, Justin. Again, thanks for being here. Now over to Stephan. Stephan is joining us from Dynapack, and you did some work with PricePoint, and that was an extension to your capital equipment business unit. You took steps along the pricing excellence journey, and then you had already successfully implemented PricePoint into your aftermarket, and now you're pushing that into your cap equipment division, and you're using PricePoint, CPQ, and MBA. Stephan, glad to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. And it's very nice to be a part of this journey. So as I'm only 2 years on board with working with your company, it's very nice to be here today.
Fantastic.
To be part of
and
that.
We were just mentioning before we got started that your background photo there is pretty special. Would you mention the situation there?
Yes, correct. This is phase 2 of what we say, because more or less I'm here today because we have the capital equipment set up completely from the scratch, together with the PricePoint, with the Vendavo team, with help of consultancy, and the POC project was a very nice one. And out of this, we grew that one into a CPQ project, because we found that price realization is a very, very important thing next to the price we create with PricePoint. And so there you see the Vendavo team together with our core team at the kickoff event for the CPQ project this February.
Very nice, Stephan. Thanks for sharing that with us. That's very meaningful. Switching over to Reed Garrett from TruckPro. So for your project, your objective was to implement a set of pricing guidance capabilities in a hosted environment, and you wanted to get those enhanced insights turned into actual margin improvement and pricing at your stores. And you started kind of small scale with about 15 stores in your initial rollout, but then you went to well over 100 across 33 states. And I think you mentioned that you had really high targets, but you actually exceeded your targets in terms of what your objectives were.
I'm excited to be here. I really wish that when we started our journey with you guys 3 years ago, that we had a forum like this to hear from other customers. Excited to take part in it. I'm sure the insights from the team here are things I wish I had known when I started. So glad to be here.
Fantastic. All right, and I think I need to touch base with the guys from GAF, Andrew, and we call him Drew because he likes things short and sweet. And Richard Reef, your project was around, again, a manual process around configuration. I think your project was, you called that CPQ for cut spec, and that was around automating configuration and getting that into your quoting process with Deal Guide. And of course, you're looking to push that out for more users, both internally and even externally. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you for having us.
Fantastic.
Happy to be here. It's been a nice relationship with Vendavo and GAF for, geez, it feels like it's 7 or 8 years now, and we're live. I think we're in our 5th year live on some of our Deal Manager, Deal Guide software, with some upgrades on that, as well as the CPQ, doing more with that, and then gonna link the two together, which is really what we're looking forward to.
We're looking forward to continuing delivering success for you guys as well, for everyone. All right. Thanks for that quick setup in terms of what the projects are doing. What I'd like to do now is ask Stephan Liozu to ask some questions, and these are some that we had pre-prepared for the panelists. Stephan, you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, let me tell you, it's a pleasure to be with you guys today and to hear these success, in pricing. I wish we had more of these, but it's good to see you guys here and discussing all these critical aspects of, your pricing transformation. And as we all know, it's not all about technology. It's about, process and people. And so let's start with Drew and Richard from GAF. Talk to us about a little bit of how the team workflows changed, once you went on CPQ, and what kind of difference did that make in the workflow?
I'll take that one. We've noticed we had a process before where we were providing roof specifications, how to build a roof, basically the recipe for how a roof would work. And we were using old PDF and Word documents and cutting and pasting them together up to 10,000 times a year.
Wow.
And what we did was we turned that manual process into an automated process. And that automated process provided a lot of efficiencies for starters. Just think about finding an old document, cutting and pasting, and creating a new document. So we were able then to speed up the time to turn around from several days in some cases to 5 to 10 minutes to create a specification for someone's roof. We're able to reuse them. So if we've already created one, we can use it again. On top of that, we've got some good clarity around it. Anything that we produce is a roof specification that will work, that we are willing to put a warranty on as a roofing company. And last but not least, consistency. Every specification that comes out now out of that group looks and feels the same. They're formatted the same. They don't look like somebody just cut and pasted, which is what they were literally doing. And it's really helped us in terms of just preventing the proliferation of being tied to jungle knowledge. And that's, Jane knows what's going on with this job, but Fred doesn't know. And now Jane and Fred know the same thing. So that really, really helped us out there.
Well, it looks to me like you really improve your customer experience and the satisfaction of your installers and stakeholders. What do you go next in the simplification or improvement of that customer journey or that customer experience? What's next from here?
We're going to evolve the building of those recipes into now whole systems and be able to offer both external public access to the creation of those systems, look into good, better, best, cross-selling and upselling, as well as make that tool more readily available outside of the original group that was previously preparing cut specs, right? This helped us build a library. It helped us build product rules that had never been systematized before. And now that repeatable process can be expanded out to both other personas inside our four walls at GAF, but then also released publicly, again, increasing the speed to issuance and making us a company that's much easier to do business with than anybody else in our space.
No, that's great. I mean, I would say automating and automating around the customer, centric approach is phenomenal. And congratulations.
I really like how you're carving out that sweet spot, guys, in terms of making yourself the easiest to do business in addition to delivering that value. Fantastic.
Awesome. And this really shows for me the power of CPQ and around people sometimes look at CPQ just as a pricing tool, but it's also an offer management tool and a user experience tool, and so it's phenomenal. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the insight. Let's move on to Stephan. Hey, Stephan. I'm Stephan. How are you?
Hey, Stephan. Thanks, I'm fine.
Never had a call with another Stephan, so I'm confused. So let's talk about your project and your transition to capital equipment. What was that a hard transition? Talk to us about that the transition specifically and what you uncover along the way that may be surprising or unexpected.
Yes, it was a very interesting thing, but helping a lot that we had price point already for aftermarket in place. But it was from our former company, or former owner, they started the project, and so we, so to say, we had the legacy project from them as our base for the project. And so very nice thing was that we have this experience from the use of the system, and for sure that we have already the connection to the price point team. That was helping a lot to start the project.
Mhm.
But I think the main input we had to make this successful was that we said we wanted to have some fresh and open mind for the capital equipment pricing, and also wanted to learn what price point can do, what this can give us. And we started with a POC project together with the Vendavo consultants as a base for the setup for this. And that was, I think, the key of success to turn this into a really valuable project.
Yeah, it's nice. You know, we often say in pricing transformation that you go block by block, and then you learn from the previous block to inform the next block. You know, and you build that momentum. You know, and the confidence also gets built in the team. So what's next on the plate for you? Where do you take your commercial excellence journey next to?
Mhm. As said, you see the guys behind me. That was a kickoff, and last week we went live with our CPQ
Oh, wow.
solution. So that's really a quick journey, and it was a very interesting one. But we are very proud of this, and a lot of people in our whole company are excited because it's a game changer for our whole company on the globe. Our customer centers outside, our dealers, so everybody is already excited what we presented up to here. And now we are in the transition phase between the technical go live, and once we set up all the new products and the new prices from the current list, that we will then have available in the system, I hope by December or something like that, and then it will be really live in the market. And from that day onwards, we will be a complete different company.
Stephan Fessner, that's amazing. I think you're going to get a lot of people reaching out to you, especially in the terms of you went what a lot of folks think of as backwards. Instead of starting with your core business and then figuring out how to do pricing in aftermarket, you figured out how to do pricing in aftermarket, and you're taking that back to your core business. I think you're going to get a lot of inquiries in terms of business model and monetization. You got some great insights. Thanks for that.
And all the best, you know, for the rest of 2020. I think we're all waiting for 2020 to be over. So finish with a bang, I guess. All right, thank you, Justin. You're next. Again, congratulations on the project. This, I know it never ends, but talk to us about the change management aspect of your project, because it seems that it was fairly intense.
Yeah, so AmerisourceBergen, nearing $200 billion of revenue annually. So a large corporation, but if you boil it down, we're pretty a young corporation growing through acquisition. So really what we found is our pricing was decentralized, non-consistent. So really our change management story really starts with how do we centralize a pricing function to become more nimble, to instill more pricing science, to drive better results. So really for us, it started with tone from the top, having our leaders bought into going through this whole transformation and really embracing the change. I think entry level and where we really leaned on is having this empowered through technology. Before, I think we can all relate to at some point pricing through spreadsheets, modeling through spreadsheets. You know, ours with implementing PA and PM and DM really gave us that backbone of being consistent, however, also balancing nimbleness, which we needed in the pharmaceutical market, which is very important. We got the pricing team, which was fairly large, involved early, not just forcing a system on the team, but getting them involved in requirements and testing. So day one, they were ready to hit the ground running. And then a couple other things. We developed a specific change management curriculum, which included weekly sessions, not just within the pricing team as a whole or with our leaders, but with the cross-functional teams. How could we work better with our commercial teams, our sales teams, our legal teams to demonstrate the value that this technology is enabling throughout the organization, whether that's pricing capabilities, nimbleness, various price points that weren't available, all of this was really part of our change management process to ensure that we were allowing ourselves to tell the story about how this capability will enable pricing as a function entirely. And then finally, ultimately, look, change management is all about monitoring adoption and leveraging those opportunities for learning opportunities. So ultimately, those are some of the themes that went through at AmerisourceBergen and allowed us to not only implement this system, but transform the pricing function as a whole, and really enabled us from the day, hit the ground running day one. We were able to accelerate our business case and pay back the investment 6 months earlier than expected.
Wow.
Through these change management efforts.
That's phenomenal. We often talk about financial KPIs, but it looks to me like you were tracking your change management KPIs as well.
Yes.
So how do you manage the attacking all these stakeholders? And I understand you had a partnership with someone else to help you because you're a big company, right?
Yeah, so we're a big company, and we're not a pricing company. We at the end of the day, we're a wholesale distribution company. So really, we partnered with PwC, and it was really critical to our success. They took the time to understand our business, understand our market, but also brought that expertise with being pricing experts, knowing the landscape, knowing the technologies available, knowing how Vendavo technology was really the best fit for us. So that really is what made it successful. I think the one thing that I reflect on a lot is as we go through change, it's easy to fit an old process into a new tool and over customize and limit our capabilities. PwC really helped us on the business side, keep ourselves honest and take a step back. Don't over customize and limit the capabilities of the Vendavo tool being implemented. And again, that all really led to acceleration of us paying our investment back a lot earlier than expected. So just some key success. Couldn't have done it without PwC. They really took the time to learn the business, not just force it an IT pricing system project on us.
And Justin, that change management, that relationship, that really helped guide. You mentioned that structural thing. That's something that a lot of folks struggle with early on in their process. How centralized or decentralized do that? And that helped out with that discussion and alignment early on, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, it's when you go through a larger transformation, it's not just about transforming a pricing group and either that's centralizing, it's getting the organizational buy-in and demonstrating the value that with this new model as a pricing function as a whole, how is it going to better the corporation? And most importantly, all the different functions who are usually concerned about how this will impact their function. So PwC supported us a lot there, obviously helped us tell the story and pull through the technology value that was going to be embedded within the pricing function now, and how that would enable our commercial functions really to achieve excellence.
Super, thank you.
No, that's great. Sounds like a great success of collaboration and launching a transformation. That's awesome. And we say always, change management. You cannot do this without change management. It's a science, and it needs to be included in the roadmap. So well done, Justin. So last but not least, let's go to Reed. Hey, Reed, how are you?
How's it going?
I mean, we look at these projects, and people always discuss the scaling, and scaling is very complicated when you go from a pilot to extend it to your whole scope. Talk to us about a little bit of the process of scaling and the difficulty or the challenges you had in moving full speed, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'll echo some of the things that Justin said. One of the things that was key was measurement. So when we launched the first 15, we weren't exactly sure what the results should be. We knew we wanted better, but as we got a good feel for the first 15 of what expectations to set, we then made sure to communicate those out as we rolled out. And when we rolled out, we didn't try to roll out everyone at one time, go from 15 to 115. That phased approach made it so that we could focus on a block of locations at one time, and really not just the location as a whole, but the people within the location. We found that some of our best, the people that could sell the best and had the most experience were often the ones that were the most difficult to bring onto a new pricing program because they were used to using gut feel, so and to kind of combat that a little bit, we used a train the trainer approach. So spent a lot of time teaching people, prior to their block of stores being rolled out. All the store managers would come into the corporate office and we would have a several day session on what this is and how to talk to your teammates about literally changing the way they do their jobs. So those are kind of the key things that help to scale it.
Wow. So obviously, having good KPIs, tracking, and showing the success were important to you. What else would you say was important in your achieving? I think, if I understand well, you beat your target. So, what other key success factors you had explaining?
Yeah. And I think I'm echoing Justin again, that one of the key things to have is that executive support. So we and I would say not just executive support where they show up at the beginning of the project and say, yep, we're for this. We had executive support during our CEO would come in during the initial training sessions just to show that this is a priority from the top. And then going forward, this is in every, your pricing KPIs are in your measurement every time we get together. So it's a key topic of measurement for the people that are running business units. So that key executive support was one thing. Also, though, I would say anytime you're doing, and this will help with change management, anytime you're creating a new process, having the key stakeholders in the room as you design the new process, I think that was a real key to, as we rolled out, the people that were championing this project were not the new pricing guy. It was the guy that's got the most credibility in the organization, and having those people in on the design was key to having success. Key to the growth that we had.
Wow.
That seems to be a real theme across everyone. Everyone has mentioned some degree of alignment, integration. It's not just the pricing function. It's looking at who all is going to be impacted, who all is going to benefit, and bringing that to the table. Any other comments from anybody to add to that?
I think I can just add, I mean, it's truly, the pricing function is not a back office function, and this is how we've approached it. And so, telling that story about how this is going to benefit other functions within the organization, and whether it's just working with the pricing team or achieving commercial results, was very important and accelerated the change management on our end.
Fantastic. And I don't see anybody shaking their heads no. I see a lot of nods of agreement in there. That's fantastic.
Well, at the end of the day, Mitch, we all know that pricing is 50% technical and 50% behavioral, organizational. And, we've written a lot about this. We've talked a lot about this, with venture collaboration, executive support, change management, team building for Stephan, so all that stuff is essential and reinforces that aspect. 50-50 is a good approach to pricing transformations. Thanks, guys, for sharing. Appreciate the insights.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Very helpful. All right. As we're now concluding the panel discussion, what I'd like to do now is transition us over to the next part of our agenda, where we're going to celebrate some tremendous achievements, especially in light of the current business climate. This is our very first year of making these awards, so we're very excited to share this news. And with that, I'll turn the stage over to Bruno to describe the award categories and announce our inaugural winners. Bruno, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mitch. And it's a pleasure for me to be here. It's a pleasure to be on this virtual stage, if you will, with these customers. A little quick introduction, but I've been with Vendavo for about 5+ years. Been in software for about 30+ years. And really my culture and sort of what we try to do is be incredibly focused on customer results and value to be achieved. So really pleased to be here. So these are our inaugural Commercial Excellence Awards. Why are we doing this? We really want to showcase customer achievements in sort of their digital journey of commercial excellence driving improvement in both process and also financial results. So that's a little bit why we're doing this. We want to showcase these capabilities, want to showcase the successful results that we see out there in the marketplace. So when Stephan just mentioned this, when you think about what we do, it's people, process, and technology. It's those three things sort of coming together. So obviously, from our perspective, we provide technology, but really the heavy lifting, is done by the customers around the change management with people and the process. And really, when these projects are done well, like the four that we talk about here, they're transformative in nature and they deliver significant results. So we're going to be awarding 4 awards today, one around innovation, one around commercial excellence maturity, one around value outcomes, essentially what's been achieved, and then one around digital transformation. So very, very pleased to do this. And let me just start with the first one, which is the Innovation Award. This is really an award that's given to a customer who's worked closely with us around product innovation, participating in our Lighthouse program, which is where we co-develop, or essentially on our user experience, leading the way before we actually do a general release. We do a lot of joint development with customers. We think there's enormous value that's driven from their insights and how they use the systems. This particular customer, I'm quite close with. I know them quite well. I've been sort of on their site many, many years. And the Innovation Award goes to GAF. So I'm pleased to award this to Andrew Gilchrist and Richard Reif for this inaugural award on the innovation side.
Fantastic.
We appreciate it, and thank you to you, Bruno, and Vendavo for this opportunity, and we look forward to more ahead.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So the second award is the Maturity Award, and that's really around deploying multiple solutions and advancing the commercial process, not just in pricing, but also customer engagement, product, sales, and analytics to drive that full commercial journey. And it's my real pleasure to provide this award to Dynapack, to Stephan Fresner.
Many, many thanks.
Congratulations, Stephan.
It's a pleasure to work with you. And let me say, you have a great team here in Europe, and this belongs also to them. Thank you.
Perfect. So the third one is the Value Outcomes Award. This is really around a customer who has followed through, have a really good focus on value realization, with that they had at least a 5x return on their investment. This is a very large focus from us today, is really working with our customers to make sure that they hit their business case, they hit their achievement. There were many customers that we could have showcased, but I'm really pleased to showcase Truck Pro and Reed Garrett with this award for what they've been able to achieve.
Thanks, Bruno. We appreciate the partnership with Vendavo. I second that. This also goes to the implementation team that helped us get this in place. So appreciate the partnership and looking forward to more to come.
Awesome, very good. And I remember actually being in your boardroom at the beginning of the journey, and I think we were there with your CEO talking about, hey, what can really be achieved? And I'm super thrilled of what you guys have been able to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the fourth award is the Digital Transformation Award. So this is really around a company who has shifted to a modern commercial process, either in part or entirely, requiring lots of stakeholders to come together for greater value capture. And so this award goes to Amerisource Bergen and Justin Eisenhart.
Thank you, Bruno, and the Vendavo team. It's been a great journey, and I think we look forward to, as you continue to make investments on the Vendavo side, continuing to leverage your technologies to, again, maximizing the pull through and the value that we're getting from a pricing function. So thank you guys again.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you for being here with us. It's interesting, when I started 5 years ago with the company, there was always a hesitation to talk about success in pricing. And I could never understand why, because to me, it's really, these are transformative projects. They deliver value often, obviously, for the company that's implementing it because you can drive more margin, but equally very much around the user experience. So I appreciate everybody stepping up. And we will be doing this on an annual basis. So hopefully we'll be showcasing many more customers. So thank you again for everybody to participate, and thank you again to the winners.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bruno, and congratulations to all the winners. Hey, now winners, this is signs of our time. We're on a Zoom meeting. Hold up your trophies so everyone can see them. Let's get some big smiles out there. Fantastic. Great job, guys. Congratulations. All right. And what I'm going to do now, because it is
Mitch,
Zoom. Yes.
Hey, Mitch, can I just say one more thank you to Bruno
Yes,
for the award? Just, for everybody out there that's listening. I actually did some work with GAF prior to COVID, where we did some social action together in terms of charitable donations. And just to say, Vendavo has made a nice charitable donation to a GAF fund that GAF cares very much about in terms of social action as our reward for winning this. So, this wasn't, we sent Reef and Gilchrist a bottle of wine. This was real social action. I just want to thank Vendavo for that, because you guys are really putting, you're putting your mouth, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You're acting on what your beliefs are. And I love that. And I love partnering with you on that. So Bruno, thank you very much for that.
You bet.
Community is a big part of what we believe in. And guys, you are great examples of the community being successful. So I wanted to show real quick, since it's a Zoom and it's kind of small screens there, I did want to zoom in and show you what those awards look like. And again, the winners are Amerisource Bergen for digital transformation and Justin Eisenhardt accepting for that. Dynapack won Commercial Excellence Maturity Award. That was Stephan Fessner accepting for that. GAF got the Innovation Award, Drew Gilchrist and Richard Reef. And Value Outcomes Award went to Truck Pro and Reed Garrett accepting on that. And again, congratulations for that. And Bruno, thanks again for presenting those awards.
You bet.
Now, what I'd like to do is ask the folks online. This is your chance to ask questions of the panel, and in fact, the winners of the Commercial Excellence Awards. What I want to do is go quickly over to the gallery view so we can ask questions and see everybody's faces. So a couple of questions coming in. And this will be kind of open for folks, but if you want to jump in. If you don't, I will call on you. So yeah, this is a general question here. What is something you wish you would have known before starting the project? Top 2 things. Okay, let's kind of do a round robin on that. Richard, I'm starting with you.
I wish in general, with all of my Vendavo experience, I would have known how messy my base level data is and just how challenging it is to bring a lot of that all together, and what kind of cleanups you need to do in there, and how you have to actually get people to change the way they do things so you don't continue to make that messy data.
Sure. Drew, would you add to that?
Data, I think, is at the key of this. And I also think, I think that change management has also been something that I've always stood behind. And I think I've presented a couple of times for Vendavo on the need for change management. And I wish other people going into this understand that managing the change is just as important as the software and the people involved in achieving the results.
Absolutely, that ongoing requirements as new people come on, as you learn new things, the market changes. Absolutely. Justin, your top 2 things. What do you think you'd like to tell folks?
Yeah, consistently, and we do this with a lot of projects, it's change management, but driven internally. So we can, leverage best practices. Vendavo, you guys provided us a lot with, key watch areas for us. PwC put together a great curriculum, but change management needs to be an internal driven work stream. And it can be the support of both the partners, or your partners with the project. But in order to make it successful, make sure it's internally driven. And then just don't underestimate it. I know personally for me, within the first couple of weeks, we quickly realized we weren't putting a lot of effort. And glad that we realized that very early into change management. But just, any recommendations as you kick off your project and your project plans? Start it early, do it often.
That makes sense. Stephan Fessner, 2 things that you wish you would have known before starting the project.
Yeah, you see in the background here in the picture, you see an impressive piece of steel, which is actually a high-tech machine. And our company used to be a bit more acting like loving this one when it's done and when it's created. But the business processes has been, so to say, underestimated a bit. That's also, I think, today an advantage for the customers, that we have now a bit more focus on that, because making business with us will be more convenient now. And there are 2 things to underline what the people before said, is that master data is key to everything. When you start a project, I would have cleaned up a bit more of this, and also a bit better awareness about processes. So this is also an outcome we have now, that we have much better focus on processes now.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And Reed, to you, your top 2 things that you wish you had known before you started.
Yeah, well, I don't want to pile too much on the change management. I feel like that's coming across clearly for the team. But getting those key stakeholders in the room as you design the new process. I mean, intuitively, that sounds like, but finding that right core team, if you're going to design the new process, I learned a lot in that arena. But then I'd say that one of the things that we learned was more personal accountability. So it kind of goes along with the data side, but we started holding people individually accountable for how they price. And you got to be careful when you do that, because that can come across the wrong way. I'd say that I wish I had known the right balance and of personal accountability and helping them see the value of how this benefits them. Those are some challenges that we learned coming out of this that we're improving on today.
Sure. Yeah. Enabling folks, making sure that they understand this is supporting them and not taking away their capabilities, but being able to make them more productive, more effective. Absolutely.
And it really did help that once they could see the results, I mean, that personal accountability, when we could show the guys at the counter next to you is able to achieve these new price levels that you didn't think were possible, that really, once the results came in and the value was seen in the P&L, really, that helped us sell the team that might be lagging a little bit, parts of the team that were lagging a little bit.
Makes sense. Makes sense. This next question, Reed, I'm going to point this at you first, but I'm happy to take comments in from other folks. You mentioned, Reed, that you took a phased approach. Why did you decide to do that? What was the background behind that? Were there specific things that had happened prior that folks said that was the case, or was it just clear thinking?
Honestly, it's we have limited resources. We thought it was more important to, when we rolled Vendavo out to a store, to do it right than quick. And so that phased approach really helped us focus in on, when you talk about pricing, we've got, thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of SKUs. So think about all that data and all the ways you could look at it. And, and there's lots of people you need to have conversations with. And honestly, that phased approach just helped us put it in bite-sized chunks so that we could have a better quality rollout for the stores that we're rolling out.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
We also took a little bit of a phased approach when we were doing our CPQ work, because we are trying to systematize and put rules around something that had never been done by a system before. It had always been the tribal knowledge that Rich referred to previously. So we started out small with how could we go manual in what we used to call our basket approach within CPQ before we started to go towards a guided selling approach, because we wanted to kind of crawl, walk, run, make sure that we could kind of come up with the rules and the data and that would support it, feed in that data, and then once we could prove that we could do that repeatedly, how to scale it from there. I think it allowed for us to capture several learnings and then incorporate them so we weren't repeating the same mistakes twice, if we had just jumped right to guided selling, or if we had just jumped further down the path.
Superb, superb.
And Mitch, just to
Yeah,
add
please.
on that one, at ABC, we use the phased approach, PA, and then jumping into PMDM. Essentially, that allowed us, because we saw a lot of value in just having a clean waterfall and those data insights. That allowed us to actually, as we were paying the last check to Vendavo, we have already recouped that total investment. So I would say, realize of what you're getting from an ultimate delivery, the system, and there's value in different parts of the system. Develop your schedule so you can optimize your cash flow of this investment. So in our case, our project was split on 4 months PA, 8 months PMDM. Again, within 3 months of implementing PA, we paid for the whole project just with those data insights. So again, it really take advantage of being able to phase the implementation if it makes sense for your corporation or your company, because it will help you on the investment in all those metrics.
Absolutely. You want to look for those quick wins for not just the feel good, let's do more of that, but for, hey, this is bottom line improvements, which gets a lot of people on board with that process.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. So Stephan Festner, something for you here. You specifically talked about how you had success over on the spare parts side in that part of the BU, and then you moved that set of capabilities over to your capital equipment side. How was that communicated? What was it about the BU getting interested in that? Was it the business leaders comparing notes, or was it somebody at a higher level saying, that's good, so do more of that over there? Could you talk to that for a moment?
Yeah, it was an interesting starting point and a funny journey. Let me tell about this later. But for the beginning, it was really that we have a sorted pricing approach where we have price point, you have price rules, you have your data under a better control, you know what you do, you have an idea about what you can expect from the outcome. And when it came to the machine pricing, we have been more relying on our experience. There was a history, there were experienced people noting down prices, say, okay, this is where we see the market level. And they invested some science from that perspective, but there was no logic and no good relationship, so to say, between these things. So the acceptance was not so high and not as we expected to be. And due to that reason, it was actually our executive sponsor, so our vice president for market operations, coming with the idea to say, let's found a new pricing, because until we started that, he had to approve all the special prices from the markets. And it was, I think 90% of the deals have been done by that, because the pricing was not in shape, so to say. And it's not only making money on that, or only making high margins on that. It's also coming out with a logic price, which is accepted by the customers and the sales force. And the funny thing, after we learned that and we published our new approach with capital equipment for either the pavers and the rollers, then we came to the conclusion that the aftermarket, which was the base for all that story, was also not good enough anymore. So we started to found that again on a new base, and that we launched last week. So you see, it's a journey.
Nice. It's leveraging up on each other's experiences for continuing to make that improvement. Anybody else have any comments or comparisons relative to BUs picking up ideas from other BU success? Has that happened in groups for you guys?
I don't want to talk too much again, but in our case, it's really the case that the partnership with Vendavo scaled up to our mother company. So we belong to a much bigger entity called Fire Group in France. And now they signed a frame contract, and there will be more companies added to the contract and working with Vendavo in future.
that laddering.
If I can jump in here for a quick second, I think it's essential what you guys are saying, and the Vendavo approach to business value and the consulting group that you just launched and demonstrating the numbers. This is gonna change the game as far as internal selling, and promoting quick wins. And we all know in the past you've read about the importance of quick win. To be able to promote pricing, but quick wins need to be measured, and like Justin was saying and Reed was saying, pilot projects, show the impact, show that you pay faster than, and that's gonna spread like fire. I mean, that's my opinion. So I want to give credit to Vendavo also for being so religiously focused on impact.
Yeah, I think I could add, I mean, I can tell you pricing Vendavo implementation is in our acquisition playbook, ROI and the synergies when we go to acquire companies. So we just acquired two companies within the last 2 years, and we're implementing either an ICPQ software for the one company, and then a PA and PMDM software for the other company. So depending on the level of how we integrate, we'd fold them into our existing Vendavo structures. But most definitely when we pull the business cases together, pricing actually is a line, and everyone is very comfortable that it will help accelerate the ROI from these acquisitions. So again, much broader than just a pricing function, because it's going to drive tactical value, but it enables the corporation again to look at things and look at acquisitions slightly different, knowing that we feel comfortable about the value that we get from the pricing function and the technology that it's enabled by.
Very, very strong words. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate that. Final question here, and this is open for anyone who wants to lean in to begin this. Thinking 5 years out, where do you think your company will be? Where do you think you want to be relative to your pricing and your commercial processes? Any bites on that? Anybody got something in mind that they want to have in advanced on that?
I'll take a bite at that.
Thank you.
So right now at GAF, our base level pricing sits in our ERP system, which has aged now a fine age of 16 years. I don't know how long it was in the oak barrel for, but it's going to go at some point. And what I want is pricing end to end in an agnostic system to whatever ERP system we've got. So I want to start with setting my price, and then I want to optimize my price, and then I want to configure my products. I want to move through that entire value chain that was presented at the beginning of this document. Right now, I sit in some different systems, and a suite of software like Vendavo will allow me to get them all into one system and then be able to leverage them even more.
Thanks for that. Any other observations from folks in terms of where you would like to be in 5 years?
I mean, I can try to take that. I think that honestly, when you give the 5-year horizon, I go, man, that's too long to wait. I mean, I feel like the speed in which you can implement and show value. There's a lot that can happen in 5 years. But kind of to what Richard was saying, we solved a piece of the puzzle using optimization. One of the nice things is from the slide you showed in the beginning is you offer a suite of products that can help solve some of the other pieces. So, I would say not necessarily putting a flag 5 years in the future, but our roadmap for the next 5 years is to take those pieces and start, block by block. If it's price optimization today, we've got contract management coming tomorrow. We've got, and just don't continue the momentum we started 3 years ago.
Fantastic. Really appreciate it. Bruno, Stephan, anything that you would want to weigh in on as we turn to close here?
Yeah, no, I mean, so for me, and I'll just sort of tap into your question. So 5 years from now, we hope that every single customer we engage with, we drive at least 100 basis points, maybe up to 150 or even 300 basis points on all the revenue that flows through the system. We do that today with about 25% of our customers. We've We measure about 50% of our customers, but we want to get into this habit where the enablement of the measurement is fully embedded in the tool set. You can look at it, by any type of category, but that we drive that bottom line for every single customer that allows them to repurpose capital and profitability in advancing their business.
Absolutely.
Mitch, from my side, I'm excited to see where Vendavo is going. Vendavo is a very successful organization, and 5 years from now, I hope we're going to see a lot of innovations and acquisitions and moving the technology in a direction that like the companies around the table here can benefit from and add on. And like Bruno is saying, you can run a business in the future without pricing. It's especially post-COVID. And I'm excited to see where Vendavo is going and become a bigger and better player to support profitability.
Kind words, Stephan. Really appreciate that. And Bruno, absolutely. It's all about measurement. That is a huge driver to that change management, putting those finite, tangible goals out in front of folks. That's a big motivator to make changes. All right, folks. I want to thank panelists and presenters here today. Reed from Truck Pro, Stephan from Dynapack, Richard and Drew from GAF, and Justin from AmerisourceBergen. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate the time, and congratulations to you. And Stephan, Bruno, thanks very much for help with presenting today. This was a lot of fun. So thanks, everyone. Appreciate your joining here. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
Absolutely. And so with that, I'm going to just close out a couple of housekeeping items here. We celebrated a tremendous amount of success here today, and you may be wondering how you can get there. We got a simple survey that helps start framing the discussion in terms of what actions you might want to take. Grab a screenshot to capture that URL, or use the QR scan code on your phone to take a short 10-minute assessment. Perhaps with that information and a little bit of work over a little bit of time, we'll see you up on the stage next year. And so this concludes our session today, as well as Commercial Excellence Month for fall 2020. But you can see all the sessions on demand by visiting vendavo.com. Thanks again to our panelists and presenters and our speakers. Really appreciate your time today. And thanks to everyone that joined via the webcast. So until we speak again, this is Mitch Lee, your profit evangelist, saying have a profitable day.